When power stops, the economy stops. Behind modern life is one critical resource, electricity. Is demand growing faster than supply?
The demand is also increasing at about 5% on a yearly basis. But what accelerates the demand is basically the data centers.
Power up with Decimal Point. Today, we simply cannot live without electricity. From smartphones and internet to air conditioning, hospital equipment, and massive data centers. Ensuring a reliable electricity supply is what we call energy security. And today, it has become a global concern from the United States and China to Malaysia. To meet rising demand, Malaysia plans to add 6 to 8 gigawatts of gas-fired power generation by 2030. Can Malaysia keep the lights on? So Prof, Malaysia expects to add 6 to 8 gigawatts of power by 2030, and this is all gas-generated, gas-fired power. So this is quite a big jump, and can you put that into perspective for us?
Okay, Malaysia's demand, peak demand is around 20 gigawatts, probably recorded last week. So 6 to 8 gigawatts is about close to 40 to 50% increase in load demand.
Okay, and can you explain to us, is this increase in demand due to the national use and supply, or is it actually due to the new data centers that are coming into the country en masse?
I would say both. You see, due to the economic improvement of the country, the economic growth of the country, which is about 5%, the demand is also increasing at about 5% on a yearly basis. So that is point number one. But what accelerates the demand is basically the data centers. So that is accelerating the demand at a very aggressive pace, to be honest. But what amplifies it further is the electric vehicle charging, which happens as well. So previously we had all the high brands for electric vehicle, and the offtake was not much. But what is happening now, Malaysia has its own affordable electric vehicles. And when you charge the car, usually at night, the demand is going to increase further. So I would say there are a few factors which contributes to the increase in demand. National load growth, data centers, and additional loads like electric vehicle charging.
And at this point in time, what is our reliance based on? Where does our energy come from?
Good question. Okay, if you look at Peninsular Malaysia at the moment, about 48% of the generating capacity is from coal. About 30% is from gas. Renewable solar predominantly is around 18%, and 2-3% out of it is hydropower. So this is the composition of the generating plant in Peninsular Malaysia at the moment. The next question is, how long does it take to build up these plants? If you look at gas plants, coal plants, it can take years from procurement end to end. Procurement right up to commissioning to running the plant. If we look at solar, it can take months. It is very fast. You can put up a 1 megawatts of solar plant within 1 or 2 months. It's very fast. So that is the kind of duration that we are looking at when we plant up a generating plant.
And with regards to cost and efficiency, when you compare solar and gas, what are the comparisons?
Gas, you can go up to 60%. Solar, at the moment, we are having an efficiency of about 25% in terms of conversion. And if you look at solar, the difference is the climate is free. Okay, it converts solar radiance into electricity. The sun rays are free. So technically, the cost of running a solar plant is as good as zero. You will have a high capex to put up the plant, but the operational cost is close to zero.
So from a dollars and cents perspective, the bottom line, solar is very cheap, gas is expensive in the long term, is it?
Gas is relatively, it is more expensive, but it is subject to international factors as well. For example, you had the Ukraine-Russia war as well. That basically affected the gas supply to Europe. So what we can learn from that experience, the cost of energy in Europe went up many times. Okay, so I guess there's something that we need to learn from that experience. So we need to diversify the kind of generation that we have in the country. It's basically for the security of the country. You cannot put all eggs in one basket. You have to diversify, and obviously we need to diversify it intelligently. There's some reasons to have coal, there's some reasons to have gas, and there are obviously reasons to have renewable as well. And when you have all the three together, the composition is important. And if you look at the National Energy Transition Roadmap, by year 2050, we are supposed to have 70% of the generation from renewable energy. So that is our wish list. Honestly, it takes years to put up a power plant. It's not I plan today, next month the power plant is up and running.
Malaysia is the world's 5th largest LNG exporter, with Sarawak playing a key role. But as domestic demand rises, should we export more or keep more for our own energy security? So Prof, Malaysia is currently the 5th largest LNG producer and exporter in the world. So we are currently exporting a lot, but in 4 to 5 years we might be needing to import some. So how does this make sense, and should we stop the exporting if we are going to face this problem in the future?
Very interesting question. We have to treat this as East Malaysia and West Malaysia. The one who is exporting is East Malaysia. East Malaysia, they export gas or LNG out of the country. The generation mix and the use of gas in Peninsular Malaysia is slightly different. We are basically importing gas. So I think we have to treat this as two different entities. One is exporting, the other one is importing because of the need for gas in this part of the country. Yeah? So back to the question, yes, there is going to be a difference, but it is purely because the way we operate in East Malaysia and West Malaysia. And number two, it's because of the gas availability in both sides. Number three, the demand for gas in both sides of the country is different. And hence one is exporting, the other one is importing.
So Prof, just to be clear, the exporting happens from Bintulu Port, which is one of our largest exporting hubs in the world, right? Mm-hmm. So gas is being called a transition fuel. So at this point, investing into 6 to 8 gigawatts in gas will essentially lock our country into using gas well into the future and locking us into emissions well into 2050. What's your opinion on this?
No, that's a very fair statement. You see, what happens when you have a lot of renewable energy, particularly solar, it is intermittent in nature. Intermittent means when there's cloud or it's raining, we are going to lose that amount of power, or what you call the juice, from the generating plant. And that can bring the entire country to a turmoil. Okay? So gas plants, or for that matter, hydro plants, combined cycle, or even coal for that matter, they are there to provide support for security purposes. So we cannot go 100% on renewables because of the intermittent nature. So hence, we do need gas to support the intermittency issue. Number two, gas, to a certain extent, we can argue about it, is relatively clean as compared to coal as well. So gas has got a role to play.
So the reason why you say gas is better than coal is because the burning is cleaner, is that?
Burning is cleaner, definitely. And the other thing, if you allowed me to go a bit more technical, it has got a fast response as well. You see, earlier I spoke to you about the electric vehicle loads coming in. So what is going to happen, or what will happen, when do you actually charge your car? You charge your car at night. When you go home, you park your car, you charge your car. So we are going to have an instant where the night demand is going to go further up as more electric vehicle comes into the country, and the daytime load is going to go further down. Why? Because there's going to be a lot of renewables in the country. So there's going to be a huge difference between the daytime load and the nighttime load. Huge difference. That is a potential problem from the network control perspective. So between the low load and the peak night load, we need to be able to compensate for that difference in the late evenings. So this is where we need technologies like battery to support, gas engines to support, etc.
So, Prof. Vigna, we are currently having a surplus of energy produced at about 25% compared to what we are using. Okay, so this is for the users out there to understand. So, is this a comfortable buffer of energy to have, or are we overbuilding capacity and at some point it will just be a waste?
Oh, a very good question. 25% is a good cushion to have for a few reasons. You see, when does this 25% come into the picture? Example, bad weather conditions. You lose a big power plant, for example. So when you lose a big power plant, that power has to come from another source. So this 25% is actually a buffer for us. It's a cushion for us. That's one. Secondly, the data centers are growing. And honestly, it takes years to put up a power plant. It's not, I plan today, next month the power plant is up and running. It takes years to put up. So, and the data centers are coming at such a rapid pace, starting from Johor, now it's moving up north. It's so fast that this cushion is actually allowing us to accept them as well. Without this 25%, we are risking the reliability of the network. Malaysia is very unique in a few perspectives. We have got a very stable government, which attracts a lot of investors to come in. We have got excellent skilled people, and that is attracting people. So if you look at why a lot of industries, why are data centers coming to Malaysia and not anywhere else? Our electricity supply is very reliable. Our quality of supply is very reliable. Workforce, very good. Educated workforce, skilled. Electricity price, reasonably cheap. So this is attracting people to come to Malaysia.
And compared to our neighbors, are we in a good position?
Definitely. If you look at the Asian power grid, there's about 11 countries in the Asian region. You would have heard about the ASEAN power grid. Why does the ASEAN power grid come into the picture? Is for us, in the event that we have got excess power, we can support the one that needs power. For example, another country down south needs more power. So the ASEAN power grid is there to support them. And you must understand, out of the 11 countries, there are some countries where they have got a lot of land, so they can generate a lot of power. However, the industry is not there. So the off-takers are not there in that country. So what do you do with that excess amount of power? You can actually transfer to another country to support them. So that is the philosophy of ASEAN Power Grid, basically to help each other grow. When that happens, then we can discuss about reducing the 25% to maybe a smaller amount, because a neighboring country may be able to support you. Now the government has also started what you call the ATAP scheme as well, which is a form of trading energy.
Malaysia's energy transition plan is undergoing diversification. While the focus is on expanding renewable and cleaner energy sources, the reality is that coal and gas will continue to play a role in meeting future demand. So, Prof. Vigna, we are currently importing coal and we are also relying quite heavily on coal for our energy generation here in Malaysia. So my question is, why are we relying so heavily on this when our new energy transition plan is actually focused more on renewable energy?
No, coal is expected to continue for the next few years. Only after 2035, we're going to completely phase out new plants from coming in. On the other side, we are also increasing solar. If you realize, 70% by year 2050. So what we want to achieve by year 2050 is the net zero carbon. It's the trade-off between having coal and increasing solar as well. So that trade-off will allow us to reach our target by year 2050. So increasing coal at the moment is not a big issue, but we have to remember it is cheap. It is one of the cheapest source of energy generation. If we were to increase to a different source, imagine there's a possibility of tariff increasing as well. So I guess we need to balance cost and how much can we even charge the consumer. So keeping all that in mind and diversification of sources as well, it's a fair trade.
So currently the government is incentivizing households to actually adopt solar technology. So people are installing solar onto their roofs and so on and so forth. So is there any way to encourage the uptake of solar on households to reduce the overall reliance on the national power grid?
I think the straight answer is subsidy. If you can bring the cost of solar down, it will encourage more people to put in a rooftop. That's one. Number two, you see, the cost of solar is actually going down. Compared to 10 years ago, the cost is actually a fraction. I would say even 10-20% of what it used to cost when we first started solar in 2011. So the cost has dropped. Tax incentives will be very helpful to encourage people. Number two, we are heading towards a direction called trading. We are now consumers. The minute we put solar on our rooftop, we become prosumers, which means I am actually generating plant myself. So if there's a carrot in terms of how much I can sell the electricity to you, that would be another very interesting carrot as well.
From a consumer perspective, one of the things that people who have solar are enjoying is they are able to sell back some of the surplus energy that they produce via solar. Can you explain this?
Okay, we had two different schemes before. One is called a self-consumption scheme. The other one is called the net energy metering scheme. Self-consumption means whatever I produce via solar on my rooftop, whether it's for my house or for my industry, I use it in-house. I am not able to sell it to the utility. The other scheme is what we call the net energy metering. So excess energy can be sold or can be transacted with the distribution licensee to reduce my electricity bill as well. So there are two different mechanisms. And of course, now the government has also started what you call the ATAP scheme as well, which is a form of trading energy.
So Prof, when we look at renewables, why isn't the wind energy being considered as a viable option here in Malaysia?
Right. Wind has got its own drawbacks. Number one, the wind in Malaysia is seasonal. You have got the 2 seasons, and therefore you will not get the energy that you expect throughout the year. So that's the first problem. The second problem with wind, except some regions like Kudat, you leave that aside. Other than that, the wind is not strong enough. Because if you look at the wind technology at the moment, you must have a certain speed, which we call in the cut-in speed. Only beyond that you will be able to generate electricity. Unfortunately, in Malaysia, the wind speed is below the cut-in speed. So all the wind farms that you see rotating is not really generating much electricity. So economically, it doesn't make sense to put wind unless you move to the offshore. You go far into the sea. But then you may have other issues like international boundaries, etc. So at the moment, it is not lucrative. But having said that, there's a disclaimer. If you go to regions like Kudat in Sabah, they have got excellent wind there. So there's a potential for wind turbines in the area of Kudat. That takes us to the next point. What about nuclear? Nuclear is one of the cleanest form of energy. Of course, we can discuss about safety, but it is still the cleanest form of energy. So in the years forward, we may even venture into nuclear. Not only we, throughout the world. Once we get rid of our fear for the safety due to nuclear.
So we have established that Malaysia is currently a favorite for data centers from around the world to set up. So the thing is, what if these data centers suddenly all decide to leave, and Malaysia has invested all this infrastructure into the power plants, and we've already built up our infrastructure for the actual data centers. Will Malaysia be left with all this to recoup?
That's a very fair statement. Yes. So when we venture into data centers, there's this element of risk involved because the network and generating plants have to be planned years ahead. So there is definitely a risk when you put so much of thoughts into it, when you put so much of money into the planning and you actually build the infrastructure and the off-taker is not there. So you're absolutely right. The risk is there, but it's something that we have to manage. And this is where I guess power purchase agreements can come in to ensure the commitment of data centers. We can look at new technologies to ensure that they remain as well. So there are things that you can do to ensure that they don't leave the country.
Prof, there are many pessimists out there, and also environmentalists, not just pessimists, but environmentalists who argue that data centers are very bad for the environment. What's your take on this?
Okay, data centers needs water for cooling. Number two, obviously, they need electricity as well, good quality supply. And we can argue that, yes, it is actually taking usable water for cooling of data centers. So that argument will always be there. And number three, we must also keep in mind that they're going to demolish a huge space for development as well. So, but I guess this is something that we have to absorb in the name of, what do you call, progress?
Prof, there are many countries out there with much cooler weather than Malaysia. Why do data centers that need cooling come to a country that is tropical on the equator?
Stability of the government, skilled labor, cheap electricity, abundant water supply, environment which is conducive for technology incubation. Malaysia has it all.
So, Prof, some reports have criticized and stated that Malaysia will have problem actually keeping up with the demand generated by all these data centers.
Two things we need to consider when we do the design and implementation. Number one, can the electrical network cater or cope with the additional load in that locality? Because they consume huge amount of electricity or energy. So is the network ready to cope with that? That's number one. Number two, do we have sufficient water to ensure cooling is also there? So at the moment, many data centers started in Johor. And because of this complexity and problems with the electrical network, many are now starting to move to the northern part of the country as well. And that is simply because we want to avoid overloading the network and we are searching for new avenue for water.
So, Prof, you've been in TNB and UNITEN for over 2 decades now. So what services does UNITEN offer and how can people join and collaborate with you?
We have very good academic programs, undergraduate level right up to postgraduate level. That's one. We are very active in consultancy business. We service the renewable energy fraternity in Malaysia, and we also support a lot of businesses in computing and informatics. We can do business modeling as well for industries. And of course, our forte is research. We have good collaboration with the international universities and academia, research, consultancy. And of course, we can do training as well. So this is our strength in UNITEN.
Energy security means having enough energy today and enough to power tomorrow. Securing our energy future is not a challenge we can face alone. Recent disruptions at the Strait of Hormuz have shown why energy security has become a priority for countries around the world. We'll continue to keep the lights on for you on Decimal Point.